Okay, yeah, Potpourri. Had a lot of suggestions for alternate names. Some people were trying to, there was a bit of a theme here on maybe the topics I was going to speak about. They thought there was a bit sort of rubbishy. Yeah, okay, reflection on the last 3 days. Actually, it's been an honour to be here to watch what you guys do. And at times it's just humbling to go, wow, how did you actually manage to do that with our software? We didn't think that was possible. So then it got me thinking one evening about, well, who is pushing the boundaries? So I did a little bit of photoshopping. It's not just us, it's you guys as well. You're helping to push those boundaries as well. So you need to congratulate yourself as well. This might be a bit of deja vu. Model tree, yeah, demoed last conference as well. It's just going to be PowerPoints. The idea, everyone must be sick of really, really long, flat model lists, so you can actually just group models in a tree structure. Same for tins and functions. And then this was something that Han thought was really good, to be able to view the trees as a flat list or a tree list. In the model box or yeah, it's not working well, is it? In the model box or tin box or functions, the forward slash is the delimiter for the tree. And so then every pop-up box will show as a tree pop-up. That means inside the mapping files, you can just go and extend that. And so instead of getting a list of 2,000 models when you import a lot of data, you can group that down to design something, survey something, and then so the lists of your pop-ups can be very short, like that. The lists there for the tin or the models, or even the functions. So pre-star post also supports the forward slashes. So when you're importing data, you can inject that data with hundreds of models down into some subtree immediately to actually go, oh, I don't really want to contaminate all my data. Let's go and put it under some subtree called junk or something, and that makes it much easier. 12D XML support, 12D ASCII support. Earlier versions will convert the slash to a space so that the 12D ASCII files are not considered illegal in V12 or V11. And the entire model tree path is the name. So that means you can have two Freds, ABC and XYZ. Fred are different models. And some of the benefits is, yeah, you can remove an entire branch of models just from that one node of the tree. And then some panels, it just doesn't make sense to have trees, and so that's where they will always be displayed as a flat list. And yeah, this is the tricky one, which some people have been experimenting with for the last 2 years. That the model tree no longer uses the model name that's on disk. So it helps get rid of that problem of the 260 characters on the Microsoft file systems. So it has a bit of a GUID. We've heard lots about GUIDs over the last 3 days, and that's what it uses. There are tools available to show, well, that funny-looking model name, what is its cosmetic name? And those tools will even be available as a command line tool so that you can, external programs you can operate on these files. The one thing that everyone loves to hate was anonymous functions. They now also group themselves into like the GenIO node or the XYZ nodes or DWG. So instead of your function list being poisoned with 2,000 anonymous functions, which to a certain degree was solved by Tony adding the tick everywhere for don't use it, it means you can have a logical grouping for that if you like it. Okay, there's some new sort of stuff this year. I thought I would introduce some tips. Does anyone know about the pause key in 12D model? I'm taking that as a I told you the other day. Say you're in some sort of operation, you're moving a super alignment around and you got to, oh, that's a really good position, but I can't actually move the mouse because I want to go and inquire on the tangent point of that current rubber band, but I don't really want to accept yet. If you press the pause key on the keyboard, the rubber banding will stop, and then you can start another operation and then go and inquire live on that temporary tangent point of the super alignment which is not yet accepted. Then when you press escape, the cursor or the mouse cursor will move exactly back to that pixel, and then you can continue. I'd love to say this was added in V14. It's kind of been in there since about V8, but or maybe earlier. But it's a new feature, all right? New feature.
When was it documented? This is why we're tying the programmers down.
Well, you see, I'm going through now and finding stuff that should have been documented. So it's a great friend. And as I said, when finished, the cursor will go back to your exact pixel for you. In fact, I think it's actually linked to the XYZ coordinate on the view. So if you pause it and then pan the view across and then go escape, the cursor will go to that new XYZ location of the now panned view or zoomed or whatever. We've covered that. Peter Murray, he did all that for me. Thanks, Pete. Commas. Someone's been whinging for ages about, I want bloody commas in fields for numbers that are really big numbers. So that's finally finding its way into the GUI, and I'll show that in a minute. Now I need to change screens here to go actually demo.
You should be able to just minimize it, or you can escape.
Oh, okay. All righty. And trust me, if we get some people doing this, Phil Campbell, we will not be able to take a support call if some people go and decide to customize their menus this way. So let's go to this menu, and there's a file there called main menu file, which will automatically load when 12D starts up. I hope. Okay. I don't use 12D much anymore. Well, actually, that's not true. Every bug that people send me, quite often they happen to be very large projects, and I go and fix that one bug, and then I spend the next week going through fixing up lots of other stuff, going, why is the wheelie mouse going, annoying me, etc. Here is a customized menu. Privet, Plocker, Stol, Niet, Kuk. Now, there's only one other person here who knows what all that is. I do as well, because I typed it in there. So that is the entire menu system of 12D now, if you want to customize it that way and use a different language. Just do not ring us with a support question. Even if we do have a native Russian speaker in our organisation now, we will say you need to go to the full 12D menu before we can support you. And that's then Shift F5, isn't it, to keep? Yeah. Right, okay, so we've done that one. Point clouds. That's all I can say. You poor souls. I wanted to say something else, but Lee said, oh, you can't say that, despite the fact he said lots of things through the entire conference, but closely followed by me. I feel your pain, I really do. Anyhow, Peter Murray summed it up so much better than I could because he's been feeling the pain. However, that doesn't mean we can ignore them. They're not going away, as Pete said. You know, you can now get your mobile phone and wave it around an object and you can have a point cloud. It's just becoming ubiquitous. But, you know, for us, I've got these in the wrong orders, you know, just drawing them doesn't solve much. The eye can, as I think I stated in the previous conference, the eye can do all sorts of tricks, but for us, point clouds, we have to integrate with all our other foundation objects. So tins, strings, grids, trimeshes, drafting, chains, macros. We have to treat that as engineering data. No one else is doing that. They're all just going, we can draw it. And that's it. And Pete already covered this. Much better specifications needed. And this might be a bit brutal. Sorry. There's a bit of a sector out there going, we're surveyors now. And sorry, the amount of stuff I've seen to try to debug, and you go, it's not even a compliant file. It's not even, they've rounded the Z value to 0.1 of a metre in the processing somewhere. It's just, it is mind-boggling. And as I say, it's not up to the designer's job to clean up clouds, create strings and surfaces. That should be done. That should be part of your specification going, we need this stuff. Don't give us dumb point clouds. Ironically, and Peter Murray got an award for this one, the point cloud's best friend is grid tins. Because with a grid tin, we can do all sorts of interesting sampling of clouds to get approximations, to get a feel for what does this data really look like in something that's more regular, that has relationships. Drawing speed improvements. I won't bother showing these. Text. Just ask Sam. We had a project in V12 which was pretty much undrawable. And there's a whole lot of stuff we've done in V14, and now you can just wheelie mouse in and out, and it had 100,000 pieces of text on the view. So huge improvements there. Line styles and symbols, a whole class of those. Now draw 10, 20 times faster, as do certain superstrings and pipes and culverts. They also, alignment superstars. I was going to show you a demo, but we're already almost supposed to be closing time, so just accept my word. We had one bug from someone where they had two views, MGA or GDA coordinate system, and the other view he had a plot on the view, millimetres, down at 0, 0, and he was just rubber banding the super alignment, and this accidentally went into that other view. 20 odd minutes later, I think it finally came back, because that super alignment was now several million metres long, trying to create alignment styles at every 10 metres, and so that there was 500,000 pieces of text. Sometimes we should guess better as to what our users are going to do. So the first thing, I went to Han and went, Han, can we put a number in there to go, if it's going to have more than 20,000 pieces of text on the super alignment, let's drop off the regular interval so that these simple, almost non-events don't become terminal. I mean, I never thought about it. Oh yes, no, Peter already did this one. Imported point cloud strings. Instead of one big rectangle, now you get lots of little red rectangles. Ironically, that means he's used it. What it means is if the point cloud was like diagonal or an L shape, instead of getting the big red rectangle that surrounds the whole thing, you now get smaller red rectangles which are in the L shape. So you get a much better feel for the structure of the data. No, don't have time, sorry. This is a classic one, happened to me. Running SSD drives full is a bad idea. You may encounter strange access denied errors. I got this in Microsoft programs in Visual Studios because, I got the points. SSDs have to even out the wear and tear over the entire drive. So even if you're rewriting a single file, the contents of a single file, the SSD has to move everything around to average out the wear and tear. So it's like walking across carpet in your lounge room. You've got to keep walking somewhere different every time so that the carpet wears down evenly. That's how SSDs operate. The manufacturers sometimes will say 30%. So that's just a warning. When it happens for you, you're not alone. Google the internet. Attributes, lifeblood of BIM. So having project model, tin, element, node, link. See, I've updated node and link. I didn't say vertex and segment.
Say 12D ASCII though. Continue.
Oh, okay. This is what happens when I go fast. V14 introduces some new attribute types. 64-bit integers. You're saying, why would you need such a big number? We get projects from people where they have done so many recalcs and so much work in them that some of our numbers, which we thought, we will never in a million years get to 2 billion, they've got past 2 billion. So we've had to change all those numbers to 64-bit integer, which means from the macro language, you have to deal with them as well. The GUID in the macro language is now a fundamental type because they're so pervasive, like IFCs, XML, whatever. So Tony is just waiting with bated breath on this one, that there's going to be over 100 new macro calls just for those attribute calls alone. More about attributes. Duplicates. Good or bad? Well, they're vital in some situations because ADAC supports duplicate elements. So under their manholes node, they have manhole, 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 manhole. They're duplicates. XSD powered editors, they duplicate attributes. But how to get at them? Okay, new extended naming scheme. We use an XPath style syntax, adding square in brackets number at the end of the attribute. So point in brackets 3 gets you the third instance of that attribute. If it's more complicated for ADAC, we're getting the third manhole. For the third manhole, we're getting the 6th point of that manhole. So the world is good now. Well, actually not so fast. What about attributes of the same name but different type? You say, well, that's really stupid. However, mistakes happen and sometimes you get data in that way and you go, well, how do I fix this? There's a new special syntax, the hat symbol. So I'm going to show a bit of macro fragment code. If you put the hat symbol, the hat symbol at the beginning of the call, that will search for only attributes of the type real. So it doesn't matter if there's 100 attributes of diameter, which are text, GUID, integer, whatever, it will just search for the real instance only. Ironically, I've done some tests. It actually runs quicker than the standard call. But there's some debate about, well, shouldn't hat just be the default then? I can't answer that because I'm not too sure with programming whether or not changing that actually will break every macro. So anyhow, so for completeness, Tony is then adding yet another 180 calls for get attribute by type. You didn't know this yet, Tony, did you? And that will automatically enforce matching by type. Oh, another tip. Does anyone know about if you've selected a vertex and you start using the arrow keys or home, end, page up, page down? You iterate through your staff. Does anyone else know? Well, you can iterate through all the vertices. Oh, there's a couple of people. Very, very handy. Well, it does for strings. We've got to go check for some other elements. What's new in V14? No, let's just go crap all that. There's a lot more progress. Many models on Restore. I was going to show that. I had a project with 14,000 models, and now it gives you a progress as it's restoring because I noticed the wheel of death came up again. But so you're going, is 12D crashing or is it working? So that's been changed. Escaping for profiling on a section view. How many people have added the wrong model to the section view and gone, oh, this is going to take 20 minutes, and now escapable. How are we going?
You're finishing time.
Yeah. Okay, I've got one more demo which I need to do. Just to thread or not thread, you'll get the PowerPoints. 10 gigabit networks, you really should be looking at that. Oh, sorry, grid tins now support... I'm getting the hurry up. Grid tins now support tin render settings. And, pop quiz. Where is this place? No 12D staff may answer this, otherwise they get fired. Where is that? Anyone know? Okay, no, you're not going to get it. It's Norway.
Why? And I have to work with this person. He asked me, well, why in friggin' hell would I know it's bloody Norway? And why would I care that it's Norway?
I got to, yeah. Well, you should have seen it because that photo was on the Microsoft screensaver of practically everyone's computer for the last 3 months. So anyhow, I'm going to go into this project. Yeah. Norway has this wonderful, fantastic, it's probably world-leading open data policy. And so I just registered on their website and I've downloaded all the DEMS, 10-metre DEMS, all the imagery, all of the road networks for all of the, God knows how many roads I've got, 60,000 strings of roads. But I had to go and then run head to tail and run attribute manipulator with concatenating multiple attributes into string names, etc. So here we've got some data. I'm going as quick as I can, Lee, I promise. We want to go to project tree. So if we just go to tins in this case, okay, there's the evidence. You got your commas, Lee. So each one of these tins, there's 7 of them with 50 million triangles each. And there's another tin that's called Ocean, which has got a few triangles. Let's go and jump onto that section view. And I need a layout file, and we're just going to just pin that up. Oh, bastard. Shut up. I'll send you all home in a minute if you don't behave. So I've just got to load in a model. And now we're just going to go from chainage 0, and we're just going to start driving along that. So that's 350 million triangles and about a gigabyte of textures, but I'm not happy with that. And so I'm actually just going to write. This is hacked, I'm sorry. We're just now going to say, what I really want to do is, I want to create a movie of that. It's not finished yet, okay, yes, it looks a bit ugly. And what we're now doing is we're actually, as a secondary process, we're just analysing the road that I'm going to fly along and uploading it all onto the GPU so that we can then encode a video in H.264 format using the GPU also. And hopefully with this new technology we can generate HD or 4K movies way quicker than what we can currently. We can get rid of the Microsoft limitation of that 2 gigabyte limitation using that all those encoders which don't work. Okay, so here we are just flying over the 350 million triangles at 16 frames a second. That's generating the movie at 16 frames a second. And I'm flying at a high speed so I can fit in with the demo. It's time. How are we going, Lee? I'm still under 20 minutes. Oh, no, shit, I'm not.
No. You're right. When you own the company, you got some leeway.
So anyhow, so that's what's happening at the moment. So here you see we've got some grid tins with textures, and now we're getting into a grid tin that's got just light shading. And I hope nobody's getting seasick out there with the speed of it. I didn't have time to go fit a nice super alignment through all the data. They just had straight 3D polylines. So
Is that the end of it?
yeah, let's just terminate it, and I'll just go down to DMP, and let's just minimize everything, and we'll just run up VLC player, and we'll just go to temp, and there's the video we were encoding. So you can see the time there, 3:51. Looks right. So there's the video encoded. Done.
Thank you.